Yeah, so the Newark earthworks are a 2,000-year-old site built by what we call the Hopewell culture. It was active from about 0 to 400 AD. And what's interesting about the Hopewell culture is it wasn't one single tribal group, but instead what we believe as numerous small hunter-gatherer groups in the local area who came together to build these sites. And then later we believe that groups from all across the northern United States traveled here to celebrate and worship at this site. And we kind of have evidence of that because both at the Newark site and then at other associated Hopewell sites in central Ohio, we've found different artifacts and things and materials made from materials coming from all across different areas of the United States, including things made from obsidian from Yellowstone National Park. So it shows a massive amount of trade and travel that was occurring in this area. And another really interesting thing about the Newark earthwork site is that the octagon, which is pictured right here, is lined up with the lunar cycle of 18.6 years. And so if you just imagine how long that would take to just observe, let alone build something to line up with it, it's kind of incredible. So the central alignment here is the northernmost moonrise of that cycle, and then the other corners of the octagon line up to the other moonrises and moonsets on both horizons across that cycle. And then where we are located right now in the museum is right here in front of the Great Circle. So the Great Circle is 30 acres on the inside, and then the circle here is 20 acres on the inside. And the interesting thing about the Great Circle is on the inside we have what we call Eagle Mound, although now people don't really think it was built to look like an eagle. They think it was actually a mound that was built on top of what would have been a wooden house structure that was probably used for some sort of ceremonial or spiritual reasons. And I think when they decommissioned that spiritual house, they built a mound on top of it as a way of sealing in spiritual energy or for a similar type of belief like that. And we know that and we think that because in the late 90s, we did an archaeological excavation there, and they found these wooden post holes that show that there was a wooden structure once beneath that mound. On the inside of the Great Circle is also an interior ditch, which is a unique feature because a lot of people, when they first rediscovered this site, thought that these were military encampments, which once you take a better look though, that doesn't necessarily make sense. It has interior moats, and the octagon has 8 giant entryways, so not the best for forts. But we think that instead the interior ditch of the Great Circle was built to hold water for some sort of spiritual aspect. And we know in later Eastern Woodland beliefs, water is a really important part of the beneath world mythology that occurs in their 3-sphere mythology beliefs. So that's what we think that ditch was made for. These parallel pathways are also really interesting. Not only do these two connect the octagon to these elliptical structures and then the square and circle, but we think that this one actually may have gone all the way down to Chillicothe, and that's what our head archaeologist Brad Lepper proposes is what we call the Great Hopewell Roadway. So that's a theory that's been gaining more and more evidence over the years, and if that's true, it would be one of the largest ancient roadways discovered. A larger one would have been the Inca discovered in South America. So yeah, and if you have any other questions about the site, I can try and answer those to the best of my